Hi everyone, this is Marie Blue Angel and I am back. I took a bit of time at the beginning of the month because life was more than a little crazy. But the details don't matter. And what matters now is that we can continue the story of Lillian and Anton and really see what is going to happen after this relatively awkward dinner date that I don't know if Anton's just pretending or if he truly thinks that this is a way to get on Lillian's good side. Because it's very weird to me. Anyways, let's just get into it and see where we left off. Okay, so here we are. We are still sitting. Anton's looking at Lillian. Oh, this is loud. Okay. The music was a little bit louder than I anticipated compared to the title screen. Anyways, we're still at dinner. Anton still has his little drink in hand, so let's see. All right then. Are you ready for your cross-examination, mine heir? He sits forward, a playful look in his eye. Okay, so we're gonna ask him some questions. And do your worst, Fraulein. I pause for effect. Cats or dogs? His surprise devolves into laughter. What? That is just not what I was expecting, he says with a smile. Look at that. He looks charming, not scary at all. The answer is dogs, always. As far as I'm concerned, that is the only correct answer. Oh, thank goodness. If you had said cats, I would have needed to put an end to this whole affair immediately. He grins as he reaches into his jacket for his wallet, for which he pulls out a folded photograph. Aww, baby. The visible part shows a floppy-eared dog with stumpy legs and a bow around its neck. Cute. Who is this person next to us? Dust is Fritzy. Ah, how could I have possibly thought Anton was a danger to me? Okay, he can be a danger to you still just because he likes dogs, Lillian. I'm still on the hunt for any possibility of danger. Spies don't walk around with pictures of dogs in their pockets. Yes, she is a very good girl and from a champion bloodline. My mother breeds and shows Dutch hounds, right? Dutch hounds. So we've always had a pack of them in the house growing up. Fritzy proved to be a little too willful for showing, so she was given to me. Adorable. I wonder why the photograph is folded, though. It looks like there is a woman's arm. Who is in the rest of the picture? Anton smiles fondly at the photograph before returning it to his wallet. Was that strange of me to show you? Most people probably don't carry pictures of their pets with them, do they? I'm just comparing this to like modern day where if I'm talking to someone, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like here's a story about, something I did or a cute pet that I saw because I don't own any pets. It doesn't work with my current, lifestyle. But I love showing people things on phones unpromptedly, like I'm just like, oh, I went to this aquarium and I saw whale sharks. I will show you the video of whale sharks that I have. So I don't think it's super weird, but I guess given the time period, maybe? It is weird, but not in a way I mind. No, it's sweet. You must be looking forward to seeing her when you get home. Well, she doesn't actually live with me anymore. I'm hardly ever home, so I couldn't keep her. She is with a new family now, getting all the attention she deserves. That's very weird then, and sad. My heart breaks for him a little. That must have been a hard decision. Nah, it was for... Nah, yeah. Yeah? Is it yeah? Like, nah, yeah? It is for the best. He looks a little far away for a moment, but then focuses on his now empty wine glass and frowns. The wine has made me nostalgic. Perhaps I've had too much. I think I've had too much too. My face is feeling tingly. I drum my fingers on my cheeks to test. Anton catches this and chuckles. Are you all right? Yes, just making sure I can still feel them. What is your verdict? Pleasantly numb, as she blushes even harder. He laughs again. Not too numb for dessert, I hope? I put my finger to my lip and play at having to think this proposal over. Yes. Yes, you are too numb. No, I mean yes to dessert. Please. He grins and signals for the waiter to come back once more. I don't really pay attention as they confer, trusting that whatever Anton orders will be just as delicious as everything else has been. I feel bubbly and happy, so I start humming a bit to myself. After sending the waiter away, Anton watches me for a moment, completely amused. I enjoy how silly you can be. Is that because they didn't allow silliness at whatever stiff boarding school your family made you go to? How did you? It's not that shocking of a guess here. I can tell from your accent. There's a poshness to it. That's not something that's self-taught. Very observant of you. Yes, there was a teacher at the Brandenburg Wormser Schule für Jungen who came to us from Oxford. Every boy from my year probably sounds like this. To be honest, this is the most I've used my English in quite a while. I forgot that I must have some sort of accent. And I love that I'm just doing my American best. It's a fine. Well, it's lovely. I could listen to you talk all night. Just talk? Oh. But we couldn't. Could we? The thought would normally warrant some sort of mature decision-making, but the wine won't let me. I let an involuntary giggle and glance away. When I look back, he's smiling at me with a wolfish grin. Did I embarrass you just now? My heart thumps against my chest. I feel my cheeks flare up. I'm so used to being the seductor. Seductress? Regardless, now I'm the one being sorely tempted. It's an interesting position to be in. My nervous throat clearing comes back in full force. What did you end up ordering for dessert? I would be so flustered, to be honest. Ooh. Anton leans in and takes my hand, brushing his thumb over my knuckles, sending a shiver through me. I don't know if I even want dessert anymore. And at that inopportune moment, the waiter comes back and sets a stem glass filled with blood-red berries sitting in a pool of silky cream and adorned with a wand of chocolate. Ooh, that sounds good. My eyes widen as my thoughts go from carnal to gluttonous in an instant. Are you sure? Because that looks amazing. He snickers. Very well. I can't say no to that face. Oh, cute. Look at... Oh, that looks really good. Oh, they're cute. Okay. We lift our spoons and scoop away from the little hill of sweetness in the glass. It's exquisite. As good as it is, though, my attention keeps drifting back to Anton. He seems fixated on my lips. I lick the cream from them and watch his mouth slightly part in response. His bronze eyes bore into me, filled with anticipation and want, like I'm the dessert. Everything outside of his honeyed gaze becomes distant and irrelevant. The way you are watching me right now makes me want to look away. My apologies. It's just, I've never wanted to leave a restaurant so quickly. Am I that distracting? Very. In fact, I should pay the bill so we can leave. I feel my cheeks grow hot, and I attempt to swallow my self-consciousness in the last swig of wine left in my glass. When we finally begin our exit, he takes my coat down from the hanging hook where we left it on entry. He holds it up, allowing me to slip my arm into the sleeves, then smoothing down the fabric around my shoulders. It seems like his hands linger on me. Or perhaps I'm just more conscious of his touch now. I love that his hat and coat just appeared there. Shall we? Okay, what about Herbert Denham? Question mark. I guess we are we have drank a lot, so we've drunk a lot. So what was English in that first sentence? So maybe it's not the best position to go talk to Herbert Denham, but still, maybe we'll see him tomorrow. I don't know if that's a good plan though. We're only just out of the door of the restaurant when, to my surprise, Anton pulls me into the alley next to us. I'm surprised, girl. I let him press me against the wall. We stand like this for a moment, taking shuddering breaths together, before his hands gain the courage to snake over my hips. Ooh, oh, okay. His lips touched mine, slowly at first, still tasting very much of sweet wine. Within moments, his tongue begs entry, and I happily oblige. When the kiss deepens, so does the speed. It seems like we are in a race to see who will devour the other first. The wet, hot slick of our tongues makes my body act of its own accord. My lower half begins to press into him. I pull his coat lapels to me and breathe him in. The contrast of his heat against the cold spring night makes me feel awake and alive. One of his hands makes its way up my body, skating up from my waist and over my breast. Oh my god, you guys are in the alleyway. I mean, I guess no one's around. He runs his thumb back and forth, teasing me through the fabric until a moan escapes me. Anton. I don't know how to do this, so on here. Anyways, his warm breath on my skin makes my body seize. He starts whispering in my ear. If you're gonna whisper in German, I can't do it. Okay, I love this for you too. Also agree, but also, what about Herbert Denham? Are we gonna come to our senses, girl? I think we need to come to our senses. Let's get a room. I want to. Desperately. As soon as I nod, he takes my hand and pulls me from the alley. Lillian, your mission. We set off at a brisk pace down the street with him leading the way. Anton, where are we going? To the Lowen. You said that was where you were staying. Wait, no. I can't take him there. I skid to a halt. Was this los? What was this los? What's wrong? We are both pretty drunk. Are you all right with this? That's right. We are drunk. I'm aware that I made a wrong turn here, but I couldn't possibly meet Denham in this condition. Not that I want to right now, anyway. What I want is right in front of me. All I have to do is say yes. I'm all right. Perfectly all right. Let's go. We resume our trot, and before I know it, we are at the Lowen. He guides me up the stairs to the doors, where a porter stands ready to let us in. Once in the lobby, we walk straight to the front desk, where he books a room for him and his wife. As he's working out the details with the clerk, his hand slips under the fabric of my coat. It slides around to my backside, sinking fingers into the flesh there and giving a squeeze. I muffle my surprised squeal by burying my face in his side. Anton receives a heavy metal key from the clerk, and we head toward the stairs, fingers intertwined. I mean, I love this for you, girl, but I also really... What was the plan? Is Emil? Is that Emil? I literally was just like, I need to look around. I'm only looking over here. There's Emil! Emil! He looks so... With his burgundy scarf. He made it. Girl, you made it to Switzerland. Nice to see you. What's gonna happen? Okay, are we gonna notice that Emil's here? My brain is filled to the brim imagining what we're about to do to each other. I feel my heart racing, making me almost giddy with anticipation. I look up at Anton, who has a very determined look on his face. I'm barely able to take in my surroundings as we make our way to the steps to the second floor, but I do manage to catch a glimpse of a small sitting area, complete with a blazing hearth. It's unoccupied, which makes sense given the hour, except for one grungy-looking figure slumped in the corner chair. Something about it makes me stop in my tracks. Anton stops as well, touching my shoulder in concern. Lillian, what's wrong? I peer at the figure, as keenly as my drunk sight allows. That zoom in. Okay, it's Emil. Messy black hair, threadbare clothes, burgundy scarf. I gasp. Emil! Oh no. The second he sees me, my fun is over. I thought he'd just be asleep. Oh, no, he hasn't seen her yet. If Anton and I can just slip away, it will be like we never ran into him. I I turn back to Anton and attempt to usher him towards the stairs. Quickly. Go, go, go. He's clearly confused, but goes along with it. To my horror, I hear a stirring behind me. I would have just ran up the stairs and had Mr. Anton leave me, follow me very quickly. Yes, it would cause a comeuppance, but still. Lillian, I can't differentiate my Anton and my Emil voices. Lillian? I'm too late. Looking over my shoulder, I catch Emil sitting up, raking a hand through his floppy hair and rubbing his eyes. When did you get here? I missed you, Emil. If you couldn't tell, I very much prefer Emil over Anton. It's more just like a. I mean, both of them have similar personalities in some ways, in that they can be a bit more like cold and reserved in some senses, but then also very like fun and sweet and playful and like whatever. But like, I really just like Emil. We love him, and by we I mean me. Okay. When did you get to Switzerland? They widen as our gazes meet. He shoots upwards from the chair. Lillian. Thank Christ, I thought you died or some thing. His relief dissipates when he sees the panic spread over my face. His eyes flit to Anton, who he's apparently just realized is there. Your travel companion, I take it. The one that abandoned you? Yes. I stretch out my words in a poor, small attempt to stall while I think of an explanation. Anton, this is my cousin, Emil. We were supposed to travel together, but there was that little mix-up. Emil, this is Anton Schuttman. He helped me out of a spot of trouble at the train station. Anton extends his hand to Emil, who hesitates for a moment before reluctantly taking it. It's an odd picture. Anton in his well-tailored suit and overcoat with his light-colored hair neatly combed back, next to Emil with his dirty coat and raggedy scarf, his dark, unruly hair falling in his face. I still want to know so much more about Emil, like, super. And also, this man made it. He probably was running around all day. Hair. He waits for Emil to give his surname. Twain. Twain, like the American author. Yes. Funny, your accent sounds French. I laugh nervously. And Emil, I'm just gonna keep saying it. God, snark on this man. I laugh nervously. It's decidedly harder to think on my feet in my current state. He's from my mother's side of the family, the Twains. They are all from Louisiana. Cajun, you know? Francophone peoples residing mainly in the U.S. state of Louisiana, descended from early French colonists. Anton raises an eyebrow at me. I see. Lillian, can we speak alone for a moment? Emil looks from me to Anton and back. Perhaps I should be on my way. I wouldn't want to disrupt your family reunion. No, Anton, No, Lillian. I think it's best we say goodnight and leave it at that. He lets my hand drop. My stomach sinks. I watch him turn on his heel and begin to head out. Wait, we got our passport last time, right? Is that not really a problem? We're fine now. Without a thought, I start after him, but feel a tug on my sleeve. Hey. Where are you going? I shoot Emil a venomous look and yank my arm away from his grasp. I'm conflicted. I really like Emil, but I'm so glad that he's here. Anton is nearly at the door. I can't let us part like this. Leaving confused Emil in my wake, I hurry to catch up with Anton. The porter scrambles to get the door for me as I barge to the exit. Anton is already down the stairs. Wait! Anton freezes in place at my call. He turns back, but his features are shadowed under the brim of his hat. What is it, Lillian? He doesn't sound annoyed like I thought. Just empty. My mind is a jumble thanks to the alcohol. Frustrated tears form in my eyes. Please, don't go. Why? He waits for me to give a reason, but I can't form the words. You have business to attend to with your companion, my cousin. Anton hesitates, but quickly lets go, deeming it unworthy of argument. Yes, your cousin from Louisiana. Either way, the night is over. He's not wrong. I do have to deal with Emil now, which means finding Herbert Denham. I can't put it off anymore, but I have to go back to Berlin. You have to go do whatever it is you're here to do. I start choking up, my drunkenness getting the better of me. Hot tears spill over, rolling down my cheeks. Why am I crying right now? Am I that drunk? Stop it, Lillian, for Pete's sake. I wipe my tears from my face, only to have new ones replace what I've slicked away. My breathing becomes hampered, and my lips quiver. It isn't just frustration overtaking me. It's shame, too. I turn from Anton, hoping that I can hide what a complete and utter mess I've become. But why should that matter to me now? I'm never going to see him again. If he were to magically disappear right now while my back is turned, I could go on believing today had been some sort of strange dream. And it would be better that way, wouldn't it? An alternate universe where I didn't meet this mysterious, charming man. A universe where I didn't throw everything I know out the window because I decided I liked him too much. Yes, that would be better than me, drunk and openly weeping in the middle of the street. Suddenly, something white appears in my periphery. A handkerchief dangling from a leather-clad hand. I turn to see Anton is standing 2 steps below me so that we are eye to eye. I must look truly pitiable, because his expression softens at the sight of me. He continues to hold out the linen until I take it. The fabric is gentle and forgiving as I press it against my cheeks. Regaining some control of my breathing, I attempt to speak again. It's so interesting that we kind of get this more super vulnerable side of Lillian here, so I'm interested in seeing how it goes. Could I write to you, after all? A lonely kind of look passes over him. Wasn't there a good reason you told me no before? But this will be it, then. He nods solemnly. I don't want that. This must be our final goodbye, Lillian. If not... He trails off, leaving me baffled. What is he saying? Sensing my bemusement, he grabs my shoulders and stares into my eyes. Ooh, okay. Listen to me, Lillian. Oh, look at her cry. Don't worry about your cousin and your uncle. You can't help them. Just leave. Leave? If not for your sake, then for mine. I stand in a stunned silence. He places the room key in my hand and closes my fingers around it. Take care. With that, Anton leaves, his footsteps echoing on the cobblestones as he passes in and out of the light of the street lamps. I watch him go, hugging myself. A rogue wind blows and sends a chill through me. That warning. What did he mean by, you can't help them? Emil! I don't know. I don't know what the plan is, but here we are. Suddenly, warm air hits my back and I turn to see that Emil is holding the lobby door open, an irritated look on his face. He launches into a frenzied interrogation. What are you doing out here? Why did you run away? Who was that guy? He narrows his eyes at me and grimaces. Are you crying? Stop it. Oh, sir, you make me... I too want to roll my eyes at you. I roll my eyes and push past him. He continues to hound me. This entire situation seems like the result of some very bad lies. No, this entire situation is the result of people getting drunk when they shouldn't have. Pardon? Are you talking about me? Of course I am. Where the hell were you this morning? Oh, wait. No. You need to tell me what I just saw. That seems much more important. I rub my temples and groan. The lobby isn't the place for this discussion, and I'm still way too drunk. Lillian. I look down at the metal key in my hand. Room 14. I grab Emil by the arm and begin dragging him up the main staircase. Can you believe if you were like one of the clerks at the counter that you're just like, there was a different man who ordered this room, and now there's a different man here, even though we can say we're cousins. Still, I would know that there was drama. Come on. You think we aren't going to talk about this? Yes, just somewhere less public. Okay, we're going to the room. I pull him along until we reach room 14. Emil sighs in dramatic exasperation behind me while I fiddle with the lock. The door finally clicks open and we fall in, Emil grabbing my luggage and throwing it on the springy bed. That was unnecessary. It made me feel better. I ignore him and collapse into the plush armchair next to the bed, my exhaustion hitting me all at once. So what? So, what's going on? Why are we so fucked right now? I look up at him with a scowl. I think we should start with why you weren't at the Gare de l'Est this morning. The Gare. C'est un gare, gare. I think it's gare, but I always forget. He rubs the back of his neck, averting his eyes. I had a family thing. Oh, that makes sense. It does. No! Emil! I was almost turned away at the border. Why? You must have used your own papers since I wasn't there. Did you have papers for me? Never mind. I didn't know I needed a travel license. How did you get through? Anton Schutman. I recount the story from the beginning. Emil looks increasingly worried as I go on, but holds his tongue until I get to Anton taking my passport. You let him take your passport? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? I've missed Emil and his cursing. Calm down, I got it back. We went to dinner and... I trail off, unsure how to explain dinner. How much do I tell Emil about Anton's suspicions of me? Or mine of him? Anton's words echo in my head. You can't help them. He was trying to tell me something. Something important. But I'm honestly too tired to make sense of it. All I want to do is sleep off every drunken feeling floating in my head. It'd be nice to have a partner I could rely on right now, who could look over at the situation with clear eyes, but I don't feel like I can really trust Emil. Oh, back to the not trusting this man. He's obviously lying about what happened this morning. Not that I care one way or another, but if he doesn't trust me, why should I do the same? Valid point. I look unsurely at Emil, who just stares back with impatience. And what? How did dinner end up with him at the hotel? His furrowed brows suddenly shot up. Wait, you two were coming up here to fuck, weren't you? To this room. He spins around like he's just realized he's in the middle of a crime scene. My dude, they didn't do anything. You caught them on the way in. He suddenly swoops in towards me, sniffing. Mon Dieu. You're shit-faced. I'm not puree, whatever. Okay, I am. I pop back into the chair, groaning. Emil takes me by the shoulders and shakes vigorously. Oh la la, arrête. Hey, stop that. This is no time for a pout party. I look at him quizzically. You mean pity party? Shut up. Look, I've got my passport back, but it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Everything is a mess. But we are here now. So what are we going to do? Talk to Monsieur Denham. We should let him know you are here now. He's in room 38. I feel miserable, but Emil's right. I pull myself back to my feet and trudge to the door. Allowing for one last moment of feeling sorry for myself, I stamp my feet and whine. He's going to know I'm drunk. Maybe not. Just don't let him get close enough to smell you. It's late, so we don't run into any other guests on our way to Herbert Denham's room. Emil takes out a key and lets us in, turning on the lights as he enters. Oh, hello. A pale man with limp hair and feverish sweat glistening on his forehead sleeps quietly in an armchair on the far side of the room. His cheeks are gaunt, and there's a grayish tint to his skin. Monsieur Denham. I'm so shocked at this man's condition that I can't help but whisper to Emil. Is he dying? Close to it. I can hear... What was my... I tried to make him Southern sounding for whatever reason. Southern American, Southern English accented, but I don't know if I can do that right now. I can't hear you, you know. We jump at the sound of Denham's creaky voice as his eyes are still shut. Ah, Mr. Denham. Lillian Sinclair here. It took you long enough. He starts to rouse himself from his rest. Leaning on the arm of his chair, he fixes me with a grumpy look. I offer my hand to Denham, who takes it with a weak, clammy grip. He doesn't let go when I try to take my hand back, instead scrutinizing me with squinting eyes. Are you drunk? Yes, sir. I feel like I'm being scolded by my father. You lose your partner, then you show up here zozzled. What? I didn't lose him. Emile, what did you tell him? I wheel on Emile, who shrugs at me. Désolé. I didn't know where you were, so, you know. Emile, that's not what happened. You didn't show up. I had no choice but to leave without you. Well, you could have waited. I would have missed the only direct train here. There's always another train, stupid. You were probably rushing about like a prissy little... Damn? Okay, I'm back to like, man, Emile's really blunt and unforgiving. Excuse me? Just where do you... Enough squawking, you two. Raising his voice triggers a series of chest-rattling coughs in Denham, which gets our attention. He holds up a hand, signaling for silence as he catches his breath. If you took the only direct train, Miss Sinclair, how did Mr. de Rosier arrive before you? For the second time that night, I relate the events leading up to my arrival here. By the end, Denham has his face buried in his hands and his head is shaking. Son of a gun. I'm finished. You two have successfully put the final nail in my coffin. Thank you. It's fine, Monsieur Denham. Weren't you listening? She got her passport back. Oh, I was listening, Frenchie. And what I heard was that Miss Sinclair got tangled up with a German spook. What is that? Oh, slang for spy. Okay. He's not, though. I thought so too at first, but by the end of dinner, I'd eliminated that prospect. And how, pray tell, did you do that? I cleared my throat nervously. I was confident I was right, but... Oh, well, he gave me my passport back, didn't he? And he was the one to help me through the checkpoint in the first place. If he was an agent, there were dozens of points where he should have arrested me, but he wined and dined with me instead. Denham lets out a sigh, and I'm overcome with the knowledge that I'm about to be told I was wrong. Very wrong. Miss Sinclair, I hate to burst your bubble, but your Mr. Shutman pulled the wool over your eyes something... pulled the wool over your eyes something fierce. You probably didn't catch it because you're all new to this, but let me lay it out for you. He helped you through the checkpoint so that he could see what you would do next, where you were going, who you were going to meet, and so on. My stomach knots. Then he kept your passport long enough to keep you from running tonight. I'm sure by the time you got your papers back, the last train out was long gone. And the dinner, I bet he asked you lots of questions, didn't he? And with that tiny frame of yours, I'd lay money on you being far drunker than he was, even if it looked like he was keeping up. Who knows what he was able to get out of you? The entire night is recast in a darker light now. How many red flags did I ignore? How much of my training did I dismiss? All because I thought I felt something for him. I feel like a fool. And you were going to sleep with that guy. Emile, hold on. We don't need to tell secrets here. I don't want Lillian to get scolded further by Herbert Denham. Shut up, Emile. You're not helping. We are in deep trouble. I pace around the room, biting my thumb. Meanwhile, Emile lights up a cigarette, tossing the spent match to the floor. Denham shoots him an irked glance. Do you mind, son? What? Are you made of straw or something? No, but I am made of wood. Denham leans forward and raps his knuckles on his leg for effect. I would just think Denham wouldn't appreciate it because he's like coughing all over the place, and smoking probably doesn't help in terms of like inhaling smoke, so. A deep wooden talk sounds. In all seriousness, no. Doctor's orders. Aren't cigarettes good for you? Many cigarette advertisers of this era indicated that smoking was good for everything from digestion to mental health, and would continue to do so throughout most of the 20th century. Oh, Emile. But you didn't know. That's not your fault. I'll leave that up to my physician if it's all the same to you. Fine. Emile walks over to the window, cracks it open, and flicks his cigarette out into the dark. Well, it seems to me like we should go on foot. Find somewhere with no guards and run. My pacing comes to a halt as I throw Emil an incredulous look. What? That is a risky decision, but I suppose it is the only option now. Emil looks surprised, like he was expecting some kind of resistance. Bien, alors, I'm glad we are in agreement. Once you've given us everything, we'll be on our way. Denham's face drops. I beg your pardon? Your notes. We will take them and go. You mean to leave without me. Even if everything goes right, it will not be easy, and you will only slow us down. Bordel de merde, you don't even have both legs, old man. I'm too shocked to say anything, but Denham takes to his feet in protest. Now look here, son. I don't expect crossing the border to be duck soup, but you aren't leaving me here. Something easily done. That's what it felt like. Also delicious, I'm sure. Is duck soup easily done? Or made? I wish there was another way. Perhaps the Deuxième Bureau can send someone else for you later, no? Oh no, absolutely not. My wife and children are waiting for me. Denham is suddenly taken by a fit of coughing that forces him back to his armchair. He can barely get his words out. Emil looks angry and starts scolding Denham over the sound of his hacking. You have a family. What kind of bastard leaves their family behind to do something like this? The venom with which Emil spits these words takes me aback. I look back on Denham with unease as he presses his handkerchief to his mouth, attempting to calm his breathing. When the handkerchief returns to his pocket, I'm alarmed. The white cloth is speckled with bright red blood. Denham's illness may be a greater threat to him than being arrested. He's not long for this world. Denham wipes his brow and levels us with a severe look. I owed a debt of honor. So you are a bastard with an honor, then. If honor isn't something you understand, I wouldn't be able to explain it to a ruffian like you. A what? What did you call me? What did you just call me? Emil, enough. Emil crosses his arms and turns away from us, muttering something in French to himself. Denham suddenly takes my hand, his face pale and serious. Listen to me, Miss Sinclair. I can cross the border with you. I can. I may not be able to move as quickly as you two, but this is probably my last chance to get home. I have to take it. Emil wheels back on Denham with new fervor. If we are caught, it will be much, much worse than being stuck in some fancy hotel. Do you know what they do with spies here? I'm sorry, but this mission has been a disaster from the start. We can't fix it now. The best we can do is make sure it's not a complete loss. Emil, we can't just leave him. The mission was to get Mr. Denham out. Mr. Denham or his information. Maybe the DB's priority was only to secure the information, but Margot asked me to rescue her friend. Even if I failed at every turn, I don't want to leave him behind. Denham drags himself back to his armchair. The arguing alone is physically exhausting him. His chest rattles as he talks. I couldn't hand over everything to you, even if I wanted to. Pardon? Denham taps the side of his head. It's all up here in the old noodle. Emil stares hard at Denham for a moment, then whips his head to me, utterly confused. I explain, hardly believing myself what Denham is telling us. It seems Mr. Denham has kept mental notes only. Mental notes? What is this bullshit? How is that possible, Mr. Denham? Haven't you been here for weeks? No, months, gathering information. I always did have a knack for memorization. Emil narrows his eyes. You are lying. There's no way you haven't written anything down. Emil pulls a suitcase from the corner of the room. It must be Denham's, and starts rummaging through it. Don't just stand there laying. Help me search this room. I look from Denham to Emil, and back again. If Emil finds anything, he'll leave without Denham. Without me. What good would it do to stay behind then? Could I possibly get Denham out of here by myself? The odds of a successful crossing with Emil's help are already slim. If Denham and I are alone, it'll be next to impossible. I'm not strong enough to carry Denham if it came to that, which looking at Denham's state seems likely. If I die here with Denham, what does Margot's disappointment matter? Denham's wife would still be a widow and his children orphans. I'm sorry, Mr. Denham. I start searching through the drawers in the dresser, and the nightstand while Emile hunts through the closet. You two are just wasting precious time with this. Do you know how many times the crowd searched me and found nothing? Oh. I don't want to say that. Okay. Apologies. That's true. The authorities probably search his room every time Denham stepped out. He's smart enough to know that, so he probably keeps everything of import on his person, somewhere secret and invisible to the eye, but always available. It dawns on me. Your leg. Oh my god, you were keeping everything in your leg, aren't you? Emile, who is running his fingers along the bottom edge of the mattress, freezes. Denham says nothing, but his eyes are wide as saucers. You sneaky son of a bitch. Is there some kind of secret compartment in it? Emile pushes past me and plants both hands on the arms of the chair Denham is sitting in and boxing him in. This is your last warning, Monsieur Denham. Hand over your notes. Now. Over my dead body. Fine by me. Ooh. Oh, they're tussling. Please don't kill Herbert Denham. But I understand, but also I'm conflicted. Okay. I understand why we're doing this, but also please don't kill him. Emile seizes Denham by the shirt collar, pulling him from the armchair. Denham struggles against Emile, who pushes him to the floor and pins him down. As Emile starts wrenching Denham's pants leg up, Denham pulls out a switchblade, oh my gosh, from the inside of his jacket. That's a lot. He has a knife. Emile twists around just in time to catch Denham's wrist. He wrestles with Denham, clawing the knife from his hand and tossing it away. Emile pulls his fist back and socks Denham in the jaw. Denham coughs, sending a spatter of blood across the carpet. I can't bear to watch anymore. Stop it, Emile. I catch Emile's arm to keep him from punching Denham again. Just stop. We are taking the notes. Like this? I pull Emile off of Denham, and Emile and I look on as his whole body is racked by a fit of coughing. What am I supposed to do? I don't know, but whatever it is, I'm pretty sure it doesn't involve beating a dying man to a pulp. Denham wipes the blood dripping from his mouth and looks up from the floor, broken and alone. You two go on then. You don't know me from Adam. Why risk yourselves for me? I kneel down next to Denham, raising him from the ground so that he's at least sitting up. His coughing subsides, and he clutches at me with a clammy hand. Miss Sinclair, just promise me one thing, Miss Sinclair. I haven't seen my family for 5 years. My little girls aren't so little anymore. Constance is practically a young woman, and Ruthie will be 12 next month. If you leave me here now... If? I stiffen. Even after everything that has just happened, Denham is still trying to make a play for my sympathy. Miss Sinclair, you'll have to write them for me to tell them how much I love them, and that I was sorry I couldn't see them one last time. He pauses to see if his pleas are reaching me. He may have my pity, but nothing about the situation has changed. I glance over at Emile, who has guilt written across his face. Seeing my attention drift to Emile, Denham tugs at my sleeve. And my wife. It will break her heart if she has to soldier on without me, but you'll say that you did everything you could, won't you? You can't tell her that you left me when there was still a chance. Denham knows exactly what he's doing. He's a veteran. If it weighs too heavily on our consciences, he thinks we won't be able to leave him. He was obviously targeting me, thinking I'd be more susceptible, but it's Emile who reacts. Shit. He ruffles his hair anxiously as he looks down at Denham. His usually steely eyes look soft as he crouches to Denham's level. Monsieur Denham, I dislike you, but you should die with your loved ones there. It would be unfair to deny you that, even if I disagree with you as a person. Wow, Emile has compassion. I mean, we're not surprised. I'm not surprised given the route from before, but still. Denham appears stunned. Perhaps he didn't think Emile would be the one to break. Thank you, Mr. de Rosier. Emile disappears for a moment to the washroom, re-emerging with 2 glasses of water. He hands one to Denham, then one to me. It's going to be a long night. Gather your strength, Denham. And you. He points at me. Sober up. I need you to be fully alert for this. We should leave, as soon as we can. How long do you think you need to pack, monsieur? 10 minutes? I can manage that. I can manage that, I say. Good. Lillian and I will be back with our luggage. I'll knock 3 times. He sticks a cigarette into his mouth as he slips out into the hall, inclining his head for me to follow. Emil strolls down the hall, leaving a trail of smoke wafting behind him. I follow to the room he booked, where he starts throwing his stuff haphazardly into his valise. I looked on, hesitant to ask him the question that's been nagging me since we left Denham's room. Emil? He gives a half-interested as he clicks his luggage shut. What made you change your mind? I thought for sure you would choose to leave him behind, especially after that fight. I don't want to be responsible for splitting up a family. Not when there's still a chance. I look at Emil in surprise. He glances over his shoulder at me, and maybe that's part of his story. But will we know? I don't know. What? You think I'm made of stone? At least when we were rotting away in a German prison, I can take comfort in knowing we did the right thing. The right thing sure feels wrong. Yeah. If I were smarter, I'd disappear into the night. Fuck everyone else. He brings his palm to his face and starts rubbing in a show of exhaustion. Well, you may not be smart, but you seem to have other good qualities. Thanks. What does that mean? Pochard. Like a pocket thingy? Like a little pocket? Question mark? I don't know. I have to look this up later. Come on, Pochard. Let's get your things. Like a pocket? I don't know. We head back down to room 14 to retrieve my luggage, then go to pick up Denham. Emil leads our party out. We should leave out the back. We don't want questions from the clerk or the porter. He stops at every turn to check corners, but making sure that no one has a chance to see us. The going is slow, but by the time we get to the exit door, we are certain that at least none of the staff have witnessed our escape. The service exit puts us in a back alley. You know where to go from here, Mr. de Rosier. Not exactly. I'm improvising. I've been here long enough to study the maps. I can get us to the river, but after that, well, we'll need a way to get across. Maybe we can borrow a boat? Denham nods and leads us out into the empty street. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're just gonna keep on going. No one is out and about this late as far as I can see. It's eerily quiet except for the sounds made by our own feet. We cross the town square and wind our way away to back streets, pausing occasionally for Denham to catch his breath. Miss Sinclair, Mr. de Rosier, Denham's eyes look glassy. He seems to struggle to find the words he's looking for. Thank you for risking yourselves like this. It is thanks to you, too, that I might get to see my girls again. I smile at him, knowing it probably is a little cheerless. I'm glad he's grateful, but I'm so afraid I could vomit. The sounds of dogs barking in the distance causes us all to still. Thank us after we are in Switzerland, Monsieur Denham. But before I can respond, the dogs sound off again, closer than before. My chest tightens. Could the jig be up so quickly? Emil calls to us in a hoarse whisper. What are you waiting for? Go. We continue westward through the city. As Denham checks the next corner, he retreats back, throwing out his crush to keep me and Emil against the edge of the building. After a moment, I see 2 soldiers passing. They are armed and walking briskly. We'll have to try another way. Denham seems panicked as he searches for some kind of a contingency, any way for us to keep to the shadows. Our options are steadily becoming scarce the further we travel. We double back a few streets, then start heading north. The howls of the dogs are suddenly more near than is comfortable, as well as the clop, clop, clop of jack boots on the cobblestones that follow. Emil has to pull Denham along, probably faster than the sick man can manage, and I with him. We duck down alley after alley, but then, just when it seems like the city's getting away from us, Emil pulls us back. He turns to us, a finger to his lips. The 3 of us huddle together, listening. It is quiet here. So quiet, in fact, I imagine the sound of my shoe scuffing the pavement would echo loud enough to hear down a whole block. Regardless, it seems like it's safe enough to finally catch our breath. Denham leans against his crutch and adjusts his rucksack, mopping his forehead with a handkerchief. I place a hand on his shoulder. Are you okay? Denham nods, but Emil whips his head around to give me a fiery glare. Tagul, are you... Tagul. Tagad, are you... I'm scared. No, I'm scared. I want us to leave. No, Anton's back. I really wanted us to leave. Okay. The words die in Emil's mouth as a shadowy figure emerges from the alley entrance. For a moment, I'm frozen like a rabbit that knows it's been spotted. The figure's echoing footsteps as they approach seem to keep time with my thrumming pulse. Emil recovers his senses first. He turns to start running, grabbing my arm as he passes to try to get me moving too. A sudden crack rings out. Emil yelps, oh, and stumbles to the ground, his legs giving out from under him. I fall as well, landing so hard on the cobblestones I tear up the skin of my palms. I hear Emil cry out, and I whip my head back to where he lay. He's clutching his thigh and with shaking hands, his face contorted in pain. Red blooms from the hole in the back of his knee. Jesus. Oh, God. I staggered toward him, nearly tripping over, cowering, and hunched over Denim in the process. But a voice stops me. Don't move. I feel the blood drain from my face. I know that voice. Anton! When my eyes finally focus on through the darkness, I can see the tall figure he cuts against the moonlight. He is still as a statue. The only evidence of him being otherwise is the small whiffs of breath that escape into the cold air from his silhouette. My gut clenches when I notice that his smoking pistol is pointed directly at me. You should have left, Lillian. My breaths are ragged with fear. I stand slowly, my hands out in front of me. I couldn't. You could have. I warned you, did I not? Why didn't you listen? I have no answer for this. Anything I have to say in my defense is moot. The game is finished. I am the mouse caught in the cat's maw. All I can do is stand there, trying not to look directly into the barrel of Anton's gun. The stillness of the alley, yards away from the main thoroughfare as we are, only exasperates the silence. A few breaths escape before Anton speaks again. I didn't want to see you like this. There's a small catch in his voice when he says this. His aim is steady, but there seems to be a weight to it. In my periphery, I see Denim using his crush to lift himself back to his feet. He too assumes a surrendering stance, watching me speak to our assailant with caution in his eye. It seems it's up to me. Anton and I have a connection, and I have to use it. But will he listen to me? I take a tentative step towards him. If you care for me at all, you won't. Don't do that. There's a quiet anger in his voice. I have orders to shoot Air Denim on sight. Anton, please. Lillian, it's over. You have been caught. Come with me and turn yourselves in. That is the only way to end this without more bloodshed. The clacking of wood against the pavement redirects our attention. I turn to see Denim hobbling over to Anton, his wet brow glistening in the moonlight. He levels the taller man with a grave look. I appreciate that you want to spare her this next part, but you and I both know that'll be far worse to hand over myself. End it for me, now. Prison, a firing squad, shot point blank in some nameless alley, coughing up my lungs in a Swiss hospital. Death was always going to find me, one way or another. If I can have a choice in how I go, though, I suppose I'd rather not have it dragged out. Oh. Emil, oh my gosh. Poor baby got his back of his knee shot through. Fucking bastard. Understandably. I hear Emil growl in agony behind me. Is he trying to antagonize Anton or just interrupt? Emil attempts to stand but fails miserably, merely sliding up the brick wall he slumped against. He grits his teeth as he sets himself upright. To my surprise, though, his icy stare pierces past Anton, landing on Denim. I mean, I can see maybe where Emil's gonna go with this, because like Lillian and Emil could have just left Denim, given that he was, I mean, like, I guess like they were doing the right thing, but given that it seems that Denim was ready to die at any point, why risk these two their lives? Like, I understand, I get from like a personal perspective why Denim would have wanted to go to see his family again, but it's also like, as a veteran, like a espionage veteran, would have known what the chances are to also risk like fellow spies, allies' lives like that is really irresponsible, I think. But I'm very partial to Leon and Emil, so like that's just partially like me, like thinking that. But I feel like that's where Emil's going to land here. Between his anger and his pain, his voice comes out somewhat hoarsely. If you were so ready to die, you should have let us go. That is true. We could have gotten out, damn it. Son, I pressed you before because I had hoped there was still a chance. But it's over now. And what of your family? Fuck you, coward. Denham warily turns his attention back to Anton. You can snuff me out here and now, Mr. Shutman, and let these two go. They've got nothing on them and very little information. Mr. Denham! Denham stalwartly ignores my pleas. He stares hard at Anton, his eyes glassy. Just do me a favor and make it quick. Anton nods, acknowledging the quest. He takes his aim, and a crack rings out, and Denham's head snaps back. God. The sound of his body hitting the ground, a sickening thud, drives my hands to cover my face in horror. All at once, the world around me tilts into the surreal. The noises it creates echo in my head, almost unbearably. The clap of the gun, the slump of a limp body, the plat of the viscera hitting the pavement. They punctuate an otherwise silent night, twisting it into something nightmarish. And then suddenly, solitary footsteps. Anton. I lower my trembling hands and dare a glance past him. My eyes fall on the corpse of Herbert Denham, laid out on the ground, looking oddly still. His eyes are open and unblinking, staring up at the night sky. A halo of brain matter and dark blood seep out from beneath his hand, snaking into the grooves of the cobblestone below our feet. I'm so transfixed by the scene that I'm startled when Anton reaches out towards me. Lillian. He just shot and killed a man. A man I knew. There was no hesitation, no qualms. He just did it. I shrink from him, absently shaking my head, but quickly finding that I've backed myself into the wall behind me. Anton retracts his hand, taking in my distress. He speaks softly, as if that would make me any less afraid of him. You need to come with me. I'm not going anywhere with you. I look to Emil, my mind steadily catching up to the reality of the situation as I meet his pale eyes. Denham is gone. Emil is the only one I have any chance of helping now. I try to push past Anton, but he catches my wrist in interception. Leave him. He can't walk. He'll only slow you down. Because you shot him, you monster. I struggle against Anton's hold for a second. I swear I can feel his grip slacken. There is a flash of despair in his eyes, but only a flash. It is gone just as quickly as it came on. Any gentleness in his demeanor held before has evaporated. He has become the monster I've named him. He snarls at me, and I'll do it again if it means getting you away from here. Oh my god, please don't kill Emil. Oh my god. He points his pistol at Emil. I don't care what happens to him. I want to protest so badly, but stop short at the sound of him cocking the gun. Anton will kill. The stream of blood now persistently inching its way between us leaves me no reason to doubt his threat. Emil, still leaning helplessly against the wall, looks up to meet my pleading stare. Leaving him in this state feels so wrong. The odds of Emil being able to escape now were so slim. With a destroyed knee and armed shoulders with dogs surely on their way, he won't be able to get away fast enough. My stomach churns. But anything less than full cooperation with Anton. I mouth the only words I can think of. I'm sorry. Emil inclines his head ever so slightly, then directs me with his eyes towards Anton. I know what I have to do. As I turn back to Anton, a hot, angry tear escapes my eye and rolls down my cheek. Fine. You win. Without warning, Anton breaks toward the street, dragging me behind him. I barely have time to snatch my suitcase off the ground. I catch one last glimpse of Emil gritting his teeth as he attempts to stand before we turn the corner, and he's gone. Okay, so what's... Goodness me, this is going to be a long episode because I need to know what happens. That was a lot. Like, damn. So what, are we going back to the train station? Like, what's happening? Though I'm walking quickly, Anton's long stride is hard to keep up with. His grip on my wrist remains vice-like. We aren't more than 2 blocks away from where we started when Anton stops in his tracks. Stand here, against this wall. He pushes me into the shadow of a building just as a pair of German soldiers come into view. You two, they are in the alley off Oetlinger Street. 1 body and 1 badly injured. Take care of it. I consider taking this chance to try and get away from him and make a run for it, but there is no outlet behind me. As the soldier's footsteps fade, Anton takes hold of my wrist once more, and my window for escape shuts. Let's go. He continues at the same hurried pace as before. The buildings and street names all pass in a blur, but I'm too distracted looking for opportunities to get away. I'm not sure if we've been walking for hours or just minutes when we stop in front of a white stone edifice. Anton holds the door open for me, waiting for me to step inside. I hesitate. Lillian. It's a warning. Comply and make no sudden moves. I throw him a look of defiance before drifting past him and through the doors. I'm mildly surprised to find that we've entered a hotel lobby. I half expected he'd escort me to some kind of secret den where he'd hand me off to the proper authorities. Also surprising is the transformation Anton undergoes. As soon as we cross the threshold, he swaps a furrowed brow for an easygoing smile. His hand touches the small of my back, and he escorts me as though we are in no particular rush. The staff greet us politely, oblivious to the chaos we just came from, and Anton responds in kind with a friendly nod. All the tension is gone from his face. It's unnerving how quick he can assume his disguise of being a normal man. We walk over to an elevator where an operator slides a metal grate open, allowing us to board. I wonder if there's some kind of subtle signal I could give to the staff here to let them know I'm in trouble. Did you enjoy your walk? Oh. Did you enjoy your walk, Mr. Shipman? Yes, thank you. That night air was exactly what I needed. Will you be heading back to your room now? Please. My hopes of asking for help are dashed. Clearly the staff are acquainted with Anton. The elevator operator doesn't even bother asking for a floor, so he must know where Anton is staying. I'm the stranger here. Even if I weren't, I'm not sure how I could let someone know that I'm in trouble without tipping off Anton. The metal grate clanks shut like the door of a cage. The elevator gives a slight shudder before pushing upward until we come to a halt at the 5th floor. Have a good night. We walk down the hall to what must be his room. It's strange to think that all I wanted just hours ago was to be alone in a room with Anton. Now it feels like I'm being walked to the gallows. A feeling of unmistakable dread washes over me as we walk the length of the corridor. His intentions are unknown, but I'm sure he has nothing good waiting for me. After he unlocks the room, he once again has me enter first. As I cross the threshold, I do a quick scan of the room. The only door in or out is the one we just came through. We're too high up on the 5th floor for me to try the window. I'll have to work out my escape later. For now, I just need to get away from my captor. When he turns his back to me, I dash for the bathroom. Lillian, what are... I slam the bathroom door behind me and turn the lock. Lillian? He only raps his knuckle against the door lightly, but it makes me start all the same. You don't have to hide. You're safe with me. Hardly. I'm in the company of a killer. I back away from the door, nearly stumbling into the sink behind me with a thud. The door rattles once more as he tries it in response. Lillian! I'm not coming out. He doesn't need to see me to know how frantic I am. My trembling voice gives me away. You can't just stay locked in there. You'll have to come out, eventually. The only protection I have is this wooden door separating us. As soon as I open it, any possible advantage it gives me evaporates. And he is right. I can't stay here forever. My hands shake as I take inventory of my surroundings. How can I defend myself? Perhaps there is something useful. Towels, hotel toiletries, nothing that strikes me as practical. I sink to the floor and hug my knees to my chest. After a few minutes, I hear him sigh. Be reasonable, Lillian. How can he be so cavalier? Rage bubbles within me. Reasonable? Anton, you just killed someone. Would it have been better for me to have arrested him? He'd still die, only more slowly and painfully. You don't know that... I know that Urgenum's disease was very real. He was counting his life in months, maybe even weeks. I doubt he would have lived long enough to stand trial, even if he has survived an interrogation, which he wouldn't. That's probably true. And yet this cold logic doesn't soothe me at all. I give my denial through gritted teeth. That wasn't the only way. Are you suggesting that I should have let him go? Don't be a child. There's ice in his voice. My heart clenches at his unkind words. I'm not used to them. But soon, almost as if he can detect my distress through the door, I hear him sigh again. That was unfair of me. I keep my silence, not wanting to alleviate any sense of guilt he might have. You're new to this world. Perhaps you think deals can be struck as if there's some code of ethics between Asians, even on opposite sides. There's not. Not in war, especially. Dunham hid in plain sight. He knew the dangers of that. His time was simply up. The shadows visible through the crack on the door shift and then disappear entirely. He must have walked away. I press my ear to the door, listening for any hint of what Anton might be doing on the other side. I can't distinguish much besides a faint clinking of a glass. The only way to know will be to look. It's a risk, but I slowly turn the lock, taking pains to be silent as possible. I crack the door just wide enough to see out. He said, I gotta take a little drink here. Anton is across the room, pouring himself a glass of something amber-colored from a drink cart. As he lifts the glass for a sip, some of the tension in his shoulders releases. So, he was stressed. His calm composure was just a mask. Yanking the studs from his shirt collar, he slams it on the table before going for the collar itself and tossing it to the floor. Anger, frustration. A pair of cufflinks join the collar studs on the table, and he's rolling up his shirt sleeves. He takes up his glass of liquor and makes his way over to the window. Taking another sip, he stares out into the inky abyss. He can't possibly see anything in the dark, except perhaps his own troubled reflection staring back from the glass. It's a lonely picture. He'd have my pity if I didn't know about what he'd just done, what he's capable of. I can only guess at his thoughts, but I suspect he's probably wondering what to do with me. He successfully kept Denham's information from reaching the Allies. Denham is dead. Emil is surely under arrest. The only piece left, the loose end that still requires tying, is me. There's no reason to wait to see what Anton has planned for me. I need to leave. I push the door open a little wider, hoping to see something that will help me escape, but a creaking hinge gives me away. Anton turns to look. I should slam the door and shut myself back in, but I lock eyes with him instead. I'm tired of cowering. I need to show him something other than my fear. He takes a few deliberate steps in my direction, as if testing for my reaction. When I don't flinch, he starts speaking again, softly. Hello. Care for a drink? He raises his glass almost jokingly. I simply stare back. Right, you're in shock. That's perfectly natural. Your heart is probably racing. Maybe you were feeling a little sick to your stomach. Dizzy, even. My eyes narrow as he rattles off all the physical sensations I've been feeling. I'm not dizzy. It's stupid, but I don't want him to be completely right. That's good. The rest of it, though, it will pass. The sense of danger is going to pass. You are safe here. I'm not safe. No one knows I'm here. You could do anything you like, and nobody would know to look for me. He shakes his head. Untrue. You are safe precisely because no one knows you're here. Well, no one that matters, anyway. Why should I believe that? Because I'm a man of my word. I did warn you to leave. Is that how he justifies his actions? That if he plays fairly, it somehow excuses his sins? You can't have honestly expected me to abandon my mission, as you expected me to abandon mine. The question hangs in the air. When I don't have an answer ready, he sighs. I'm a soldier, Lillian. I do what I'm told. And it may not look like it, but I am protecting people with what I do. Ooh. At that moment, a deafening clang rings out from the desk. A telephone. Anton lets out a sigh of frustration. Excuse me. He strides over to the desk and sets down his drink, forcing himself to bury his annoyance before taking up the receiver. This is Shetland. Who is this? He clears his throat and straightens his posture, almost like a reflex. A soldier at attention. Colonel, good evening. Colonel? That must be whoever is giving Anton his orders. I should try to listen in, try to see if there's anything useful I can glean for the Bureau. A colonel in the German army. That's quite a valuable source of intel. But suddenly I'm struck with the realization that this is the first time Anton's attention is not completely focused on me. No, escape is more important. My life is at stake. The DB will understand, or he'll make them. I'm still here in Laroque. Yes, sir. The situation is under control. There's no way to slip to the front door without crossing Anton's line of sight. I scan the room for anything I can use. Ooh. My eyes land on a letter opener lying on the desk. I did prevent Denim from escaping, but I was not able to bring him in for questioning. On my own, I could never overpower Anton, but if I'm armed, it's right next to him. I'll be within his reach. It's risky, but if I'm quiet enough... No, he was not alone. The men are pursuing his accomplice. I'm confident we'll have him in the hand shortly. Slowly, I creep towards the desk. Stretching my hand out, I gradually wrap my fingers around the letter opener. Sensing my presence, Anton begins to turn. Hurriedly, I slip my makeshift weapon up in my sleeve to conceal it, only just in time. The woman, it was as you expected. What was that? What did he expect? My pulse thrums just under my skin as his eyes fall on me. For a moment, I'm certain he knows what I've done. Very good. I will check in again when there's more to report. Likely by tomorrow night, assuming everything goes to plan. Does he mean his plan for me? I feel the letter opener slip slightly down my wrist. I catch it with my palm and surreptitiously adjust it back into place, playing it off as a fidget. He looks away, returning to the business of his call. I thought we were going to, use that letter opener immediately, so... Yes, sir. Okay, goodbye. With that, he returns the receiver to its cradle. The window for taking some action, for a while he was distracted, has shut firmly. The only thing I can do is face him head on now. I take it now you have your orders? Yes. And you'll carry them out, like a good soldier would. He gives me a curious look, as if waiting to see where I'm going with such a silly question. I swallow hard, trying to summon up some bravado. What happens now? I'm not sure. You must have had some plan in bringing me here. The plan was to get you off the street and out of danger. Beyond that, I don't believe you. Well, I can't prove a negative. What do you want me to say? He waits for me to tell him, but I honestly don't know what kind of reassurance he could give. Absent any suggestion for me, he takes another sip of his drink and begins to pace. You know, I consider myself an insightful man, but I'll admit there are things I don't really understand about you, like your association with the French. Why? Because you just so happened to be in Paris when the war broke out? America is not involved. As far as I can tell, you could just as easily be working for us. What are you talking about? If you came back to Berlin with me, you think I'd change my allegiances so easily. The thought makes me bristle. He knows nothing about me. I think I could convince you. A slight smile plays on his features. I'm not saying that of arrogance. You are smart. You know that favoring one country to work for another at a time like this is, at least for you, arbitrary. You are more or less free to do what you like without any nationalistic pressures. The letter opener, at first cold metal against my skin, has warmed from the heat coming off of me. At the very least, it could be good for your career. The upbeat along 3rd B, why did we name it that? I'm curious. Wouldn't send you out on a mission like this without the proper training. You'd be given tasks that suited your talents. And perhaps, selfishly, I could keep you close. He utters this with some reluctance, then watches for my reaction. I want so badly to give him nothing, but anger wins out. You think so little of me. Not at all. But you think I'm a traitor. I think you want to survive. The letter opener in your hand is proof of that. The shock of being found out makes the blade slip from my grip, nearly causing me to drop it. After tossing me a knowing look, Anton returns to his drink cart to refill his now empty glass, leaving me staringly incredulously at his back. All right, so I'm armed. You're not going to do anything about it? I could stab you now. I could kill you. This elicits a bitter smile from him. Killing someone is very difficult, especially the first time. The smile stays on his lips, but something dark dances across his face. I believe in your potential, but I don't think you have that in you. Oh, underestimating our girl. He does, I don't know. I like him less, to be honest. But I'm biased. He tosses his drink back before returning to his original line of thought. So why France, Lillian? In some ways he's right. There was an amount of luck involved in Margot taking me under her wing. But joining the DB wasn't exactly arbitrary like Anton suggests. I'm not loyal to a country. I'm loyal to people. People who would send you into enemy territory unprepared. I glower at him. You don't know what you're talking about. Perhaps I wasn't prepared, but I'm not blaming Margot for that. She took a calculated risk. She sent me because she trusted me to help her friend, a mission that I failed. My eyes sting with frustration, but I blinked them back. I'm not going to break down again. His expression clouds. You're right, I don't. I'm just thinking aloud. Besides, it's not as though they could be your handler, so who am I to make you a promise? He frowns into his glass, unhappy with the conclusion he's reached. I'm not sure what to do about you, Lillian. I'm running out of ideas, even bad ones. I had hoped I could come up with a way to keep you safe while fulfilling my duties still, but I'm as still as a statue as I watch on, waiting for him to provide the answer to his quandary. My heartbeat seems to fill the silence. If he's not going to compromise on his duty, then there's no helping me. With a scowl, he drains the rest of his drink. Is he bracing himself to take action? To arrest me? If he does that, I might as well be dead. But he's moving towards the desk. Is he going for the telephone? I can't let him do that. I throw myself into his path to intercept him, and in doing so, catch him off guard. With him off balance, why does he look so happy about this? My God. I'm able to ram him backwards onto the bed and clamber on top of him, whipping out the letter opener as I do. I hold the sharp metal to his exposed throat, just under his jaw. The only sounds in the room come from my frantic breathing. My fingers grip my weapon so tightly I feel my palm begin to sweat. My other fingers twist through his hair and pull his head back, exposing his neck further to me. His face shows no sign of distress, though. In fact, I see a smile creep onto his lips, and his chest beneath me begins to shake with laughter. I didn't think you would try this. You were wrong, and you really should. My computer died. Anyways, you were wrong. You really shouldn't be laughing at someone with a knife to your throat. You can't see how ridiculous this is. Enough! I grit my teeth and press the letter opener against him, breaking the skin. A small trickle of blood seeps down his neck, but he keeps on gritting. Ugh, it does hurt a little, but all you're doing is making a mess. Aim lower so you hit an artery. He's mocking me. He really believes I couldn't kill him. The muscles of my hand quiver from the force I am using to grasp my blade as he places his hand over mine. If it leaves my hand, if he takes the letter opener from me, I lose. The thought unnerves me, but he's not biting my grip. Wrapping his hand around my wrist, he guides me, lower. There, closer to the base of the neck. I'll bleed out within seconds. Shut up. I'll do it. I swear I will. If you're going to do it, I'd already be dead. I wait for him to fight me, to show resistance, but he doesn't. Curiosity taking hold, I release his hair from my clutch, and my hand drifts down to the spot where he's ushered my killing blow. Taking a halting breath, I gingerly press fingertips there. His pulse throbs against them, and to my amazement, it nearly matches the rhythm of my own. It's where I'd have to cut him, where I'd have to apply force. His gaze never wavers from mine. His metallic eyes are ablaze. Why am I hesitating? Suddenly, he takes me by the waist and swings me off of him, landing me almost face first into the mattress. Quicker than lightning, he's on top of me, his knees pressed down against the outside of my thighs to keep me in place. I cry out as I struggle underneath his weight. My wrists are pinned against my lower back. They grasp my weapon with all their might, but it's useless. I'm trapped. No, this is a much more advantageous position. You can't do much on your stomach and your hands. He applies pressure upward from my wrist, squeezing my palm together. As much as I try to resist, my grip on the letter opener loosens until my fingers release it altogether. I flinch as he suddenly lowers his head toward mine. I don't want your hands free. Otherwise, you might regain control. His voice comes out in a raspy, gentle growl that lingers in my ear. I shudder involuntarily. My heart races, immobilized and disarmed. I'm now completely defenseless. I struggle a bit more, but the contours of his body are pressed into mine, like a puzzle piece. The feeling of his hips nestled into my backside sends a heat wave through me. My breaths start coming in shivering gasps. The blood rushing to my head is deafening. What is happening to me? I'm scared for my life, and yet... Girl. When I slit a throat, this is how I do it. All the evidence goes away from me, not onto me. My eyes shut tight, waiting for the pain, but nothing comes. Silence fills the room, save for the sound of my own heart beating in my throat. Does he not actually intend to kill me? Then why is he doing this? Why? Before I can finish these thoughts, the weight that was holding me in place eases. I think that's enough. I feel Anton slide off of me, leaving a coldness in his steed. For a moment, I lie there in disbelief. Rationally, I knew it was possible Anton could overpower me before I launched my attack, but in the moments of my desperation for escape, I had buried the thought, and I certainly didn't anticipate what it would feel like to have him on top of me. I hear him exhale as if readying himself for a tedious task. He waltzes into my periphery, snatches the discarded letter opener off of the floor, and tucks it into his breast pocket. Somewhat shakily, I lift myself up, turning over my shoulder to look at him. My brain is twisting itself inward to figure out what I should do, how I should feel. I like the touch of the character sprite having the little trickle of blood there where Lillian had pressed the letter opener too earlier. All I can do is stare at Anton as he smooths his hair back into place, adjusts his waistcoat. My God, I'm getting tired. Has he always been so trim? It occurs to me that I haven't really looked at him since we came to the hotel. Well, you saw him earlier when you peeked out from the bathroom. I saw. Did we not all see? Without his coat, I can see how long and lean his body is. His strength was apparent when he held me mere moments before, but observing him now, it's obvious. I'm confused. This man just accosted me to teach me a lesson. I should be enraged, not intrigued. What the hell? I muttered to myself more than to him. He cocks a brow and strides over, looming over me once more. Instinctively, I flip back over and push myself further backwards on the bed. If asked whether I want to keep him away from me or return to me, I'd be hard-pressed to reply. At least facing him, I can give myself a chance to react to whatever he's about to do. For a moment, he merely stands at the foot of the mattress with his hands in his pockets, silently boring down at me. There's dried blood on his neck where I nicked him, a dark line that has collected on the edge of his shirt in an inky bloom. Anton. His face is marble, once again, like I'm used to, that hard, inscrutable look he's good at giving. But to my surprise, it cracks. He softens. His features melt into worry. Please, let me speak. That was not very manly of me. I shouldn't have done that, not even to prove a point. He struggles to find the precision he's looking for. Refusing to be lost any longer, he switches to his mother tongue. I can't speak German, so again, we're still in English. The whole reason I brought you here was to keep you safe, not to hurt you. I'd like to blame it on the drinks I've had, but that's hardly an excuse. Okay. The truth is, I can't stop thinking about how much I want to kiss you. The admission is quiet and steeped in guilt. Anton rubs the back of his neck, barely able to make eye contact with me now. And I know how insane that impulse is, especially now. A heavy silence falls between us as I let his words turn over my mind. Insane is right, and yet I think I understand. Then kiss me. Oh my God, you two are a crazy bunch. Oh my goodness. I mean, we could call this from way early on, but here we are. An intense blush erupts on my face as the words escape me. I'm angry with this man. Angry with a bit of myself, too. I might even hate him for everything he's done. for all the lies. But at the same time, I want him more than anything I've ever wanted. I want to feel something other than the anger and fear right now. I want to feel love at any cost. I want... No. I need his kiss. Oh my god, you guys are so fucking crazy. I love that. Okay. What is going to happen? Is Lillian getting out of Germany? We don't know. I thought this would have been over by now, but we couldn't resist. I guess I kind of like, in some senses, like this is keeping me on my toes, so I kind of like the turn of events personally. Anton's eyes widened, momentarily stunned by my response. He climbs onto the bed with some trepidation as if he's waiting for me to change my mind. As he positions himself over me, he runs his hand over my thigh, dragging the fabric of my skirt up as he goes. I lay back, letting myself fall into the sensation. Are you sure? Stop talking. You guys talked long enough. Wow, what is CG? Okay, good. I'm happy for you too. But I guess we will worry about what happens later. I'm all impatience as I move my hands up to his face, pulling him to me. His mouth meets mine, slowly at first, like he means to savor me. But I find my tongue parting his lips in demanding entry. The taste of brandy still lingers, sweet, with a slight burn. I could devour him, I think, until he stops holding back. He breaks the kiss to nip at my ear, then buries himself into my neck. I let out a soft cry as my body arches of its own accord, pressing me into him. I claw at his back and chest. He at my hips, each finding our clothes in the way. Oh, I remember seeing this as a preview. I was like, is this not Emil? But I was wishful thinking. Now we know it's Mr. Anton for sure. I pull out his waistcoat and shirt until they are undone. He shrugs them off. In a swift motion, he strips his undershirt away, revealing his taut stomach and the flesh of his chest. The sight makes me feel electric. My God, you too. He hikes my skirt up and starts undoing my garters as I go for the buttons of his trousers. Discovering a boldness I didn't know I had, I take him in hand, feeling the contours of his sex. At my touch, he stiffens even more, eliciting a sigh of pleasure from him. He coaxes my legs open, and I gasp when I feel his fingers find the opening to my chemise and shift the fabric there to the side. I'm just shocked and I'm just whoa, okay, well, look at you two. My body is almost vibrating as he lowers himself between my thighs. I brace myself and... Oof. A loud knock on the door makes us stop in our tracks. He stares at me blankly for a moment, perhaps hoping that our stillness might trick whoever is there into leaving. They knock again. Herr Hoffman? Damn it. Letting out a deep sigh, his head drops in defeat. He pulls himself from the bed, hikes his trousers back on, and stalks over to the door and out of my line of sight. The chain lock rattles as Anton wrenches the door open. What? Captain! Sir. Anton's dark and impatient, causes the man to stammer. Out with it. We've cleaned up Oatlinger Street. That's all? No. Oh, thank God. We've been searching for Denham's accomplice, but there's no sign of him, thank goodness. No sign of Emil. Could he have possibly escaped? He got away. He was shot in the leg. How far could he have gotten? Guilt crashes over me in a wave. Anton killed Herbert Denham and shot Emil right in front of my eyes, and I was about to make love to him. I love that we're coming to our senses. Let's continue that. I don't know, sir. The men are waiting for your orders. Christ. Just tell them to continue the search. I'll head to division quarters in Freiburg. We'll regroup there if he's not found before dawn. Before the soldier can ask another question, the door clicks shut. Anton lets out a string of what I can assume are curse words, fingers pinching the bridge of his nose in exasperation. As he takes a restless walk over the room, my eyes fall on the angry shred streaks covering his back and chest, the scratch marks I left. I did that to him. Not that I don't think he deserves it on some level. He deserves much worse, but I didn't know I'd do that when carried away. And that's the only way I can justify what I just did. I was carried away. A woman possessed. Fair. I have to go. Right away. You can stay here until I get back. You probably want to sleep anyway. What? No. I'll be back before the afternoon, and then we can figure out what to do next. I stare at him, incredulous. I'm not going to stay here. He returns my gaze, equally disbelieving. Lillian, everyone's under the impression that you might have left earlier, apart from your comrades, but your description is still out there. The search is very much ongoing. If you are seen, I can't protect you. You'll be better off waiting until we can come up with a better solution. I don't think there is a better solution. The longer I'm in enemy territory, the more dangerous it seems. I scurried to the edge of the bed to reattach my garters. If I'm about to start running, the last thing I need is my stockings rolling down. I'm not going to sit around here doing nothing. I'm leaving, with or without your assistance. I can see the gears turning in his mind as he assesses the will behind my words, rather. I'm not about to back down, and he seems to realize this. Fine, but you need to leave, right now. There's something decidedly awkward about redressing in each other's company. We don't speak except to address logistics. Much like Denim and Emil concluded earlier, crossing from Luck to Basel by legitimate means is too risky. Short of going to another city along the border, my only option is to cross the river. In between these practicalities, I catch myself stealing glances of Anton. The rituals of doing up buttons and covering up skin are not meant for the eyes of a stranger. I probably know more about Anton than most of the people in his life. He could probably say the same of me. My family and closest friends have no idea that I'm spying for France. It's a secret that few people know, and Anton is one of them now. Yet, despite carrying this intimate knowledge of each other and knowing each other's touch, I feel more distant from him than ever. Anton shrugs on his coat. Are you ready? I find myself unable to meet his eyes, scared of losing our newfound distance. As I pick up my bags, all I can muster is a curt nod. He leads me from the room and down the hall to a back stairwell. When we exit into a back alley, the cold night air hits my face, sending a shiver through me. Wasn't I just doing this? It feels like I'm walking to danger all over again. For all my misgivings, we don't run into any more trouble as we move through the dark. The rock is as sleepy as I might have wished it to be before. We don't meet a soul along the way. So much sooner than I expect, we reach the edge of town where the sound of water lapping at the pebble-strewn banks can be heard. There are at least a half-dozen private docks in this section of the Rhine, personal skiffs belonging to the denizens of the houses behind us. Anton locates one small and mostly enclosed boathouse for us to sneak into. Wise, as we certainly don't want to be caught trying to make off with someone's property. Once inside, he frees the boat from its tethers and steps in. He holds his hand out to assist me. As I rest my palm on his, déjà vu strikes again. There's something so familiar about this, the sight of his gloved hand at mine and the unsteady feeling in my legs. This is just like the train, but it's completely different, too. Neither of us is pretending anymore. We know exactly who the other is, and he has still helped me here. It goes against all logic. It's a terrible betrayal of his duties. I'm just as culpable in all of this. Taking positions, Anton lowers the oars in the water and paddles our craft out into the open. The crossing passes in relative distance, or silence, rather. The slap of the oars as they hit the water and the creak of the boat as it heaves forward are the only things that can be heard. Outwardly, everything is so serene, but inside I'm a tumult of guilt, shame, and confusion. The mission failed. I failed. I threw away everything I ever learned for a good time with a man I hardly know. The mistakes I made, my neglectfulness, cost lives today. That's not something that sits well with me. And Margot. My stomach twists as I think about recounting the story to her. I should be grateful I made it out alive at all, but I'm filled with dread. Even if she understands, will her superiors at the Bureau feel the same? As the boat runs into the Swiss bank, Anton gets out to drag the boat against the rest of the way. He's definitely ruining his shoes, but he doesn't seem to care. I crawl from the boat with his assistance and stand with him on the bank. I try pulling my hand away from his, but he doesn't let go. This is where we say goodbye. For the first time since the hotel room, I allow myself to really look at Anton, to feel the pull of the sadness hiding in his honey eyes. Under other circumstances, I'd be head over heels for this man. His gentlemanly bearing, the way we make each other laugh, all his charisma and charm. It'd be so easy. I take a small step closer to Anton and look up at him, thinking about the things that could have been. He tilts his head to the side and reaches down to tuck a stray lock of hair behind my ear. For a moment, I think he's going to bend down and kiss me, but his hand slips away. You'll go up this bank and head into Basel, and I'll get back on the boat. He takes a step back from me. How is it that I always fail to predict him? He might be the most incongruous person I've ever met, pulling away when he wants to be closer and donning masks with the flick of a switch. It intrigues me, but it also makes him dangerous. That's for the best. We won't see each other again. Probably not. A cold wind blows from the water as if urging me to leave. In lieu of what should probably be some kind of parting handshake, I give him a bitter smile. Well, then, goodbye, Anton. Take care, Lillian. With some reluctance, he walks back to the water and boards the craft. I watch him paddle away until he's nothing but a mirage in the early morning mist. My breath escapes in clouds before me, and with a sudden shiver, I stuff my hands into my pockets. The tips of my fingers brush against something. Paper. I pull out the card with Anton's name and address, now bent from being in my pocket all this time. This was never meant to be. I should tear the business card up and leave the pieces scattered in the mud. I pinch at the center edge and start to rip. But I can't bring myself to do it. Frowning at my own weakness, I tuck the card back into my pocket. There's no doubt plenty of blames waiting for me back in Paris. I might as well be more gentle with myself for now. Making my way up the bank and officially into Switzerland, I leave the rock and Herbert Jenham somewhere behind the fog of the Rhine. Dang. Wait, what's happening? Okay, I don't know what's happening just yet. I don't think there's anything, but... Did I get credits last time? I feel like I didn't. Whoa. Okay, go credits, go. So is that like the true ending? And everything else is a variation. Also, what happened to Emil? We don't know. This was also good. Oh my. I mean, I was literally just like ongoing with it. So it was definitely super captivating. I'll have to save my full thoughts for when I complete the other variation of this story. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed it, because I certainly have. It's so complicated how everything tends to end here. Loving country. So I love that. I don't know why I was expecting like, oh yes, it'll be like happy moments. I'm like, it's a spy romance situation. Most likely that's not happening. It's so bittersweet. Like, I'm glad Lillian got out alive, but also, what about Emil? What about Anton? What about Herbert Denham? You know? But anyways, I'll leave all of those comments and things for the last video or two of the series. I'd like to make the main menu choice. Oh, I could just click it right there. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this as much as I have. Yeah, again, I already said all I had to say during the credits, but I'm very much enjoying it, and I look forward to this last part so I can fully discuss how I feel about Anton's story, but also Emil's story and what Lillian has kind of learned between these two stories and making these different choices. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like the video, press the like button, and if you'd like to see more of Love and Country, as well as other playthroughs of visual novels here on my channel, please feel free to subscribe. Anyways, have a good rest of your day. Bye!